And so I remember going to a wedding in Maryland in the US, and there was an Indian couple, maybe about 40 years old there. And we sat at the same table and we hadn't gone to the buffet yet. And I said, "Oh, are you vegetarian?" And both of them said, "No, no, 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 we're not vegetarian." And you think, "I know you are." I said, "Well, we are," meaning my partner and I. We're vegetarian. I thought you might be. And she said, "Well, we usually are." And I thought, you were trying to adjust, thinking that I might find something wrong with you being vegetarian. That's a very sad state of affairs. And what's interesting to me is that the West is moving around this circle and coming back to the position that we shouldn't eat animals and that we shouldn't steal from animals. You know, the milk that the mother cow makes for her baby, her beloved baby. When you talk about consciousness, I always think of the look in those eyes of that mother who is watching her baby being taken away. So some human animal can steal the milk and put it as ghee or butter or cheese or whatever it is. In the West, there is a growing awareness, and maybe some of this is for animals out of concern, and some of it is because of all the devastating information we have been bombarded with about the ill effects of animal milk, eggs, meat on human health. So a selfish reason comes in there. And also because people know they should be caring about the environment. Even if they don't really care, they know they should care. And they are hearing that animal-based agriculture worldwide is taking our water resources, taking our land resources, cutting down the rainforest. So the consciousness is really in all these different ways, isn't it, of intellectual, of thought, and of awareness and of information. On the animal side, I think we can see they're all conscious. You can just look into those eyes and see fear in the slaughterhouse, terrible fear, wide eyes, petrified. But most of the time, they don't get choices. The rabbit can't have the carrot. The mother cow can't have her baby because they're dominated by the human species that doesn't think beyond what it wants itself. And I think your work in saying, look at yourself. You are more than your interests, your pleasures. You are a thoughtful, conscious being. Act like one is very, very important.
Yes. And also, what is happening is, in the Indian context especially, cultural reasons succeeded in keeping a vast majority of Indians vegetarian, if not vegan, since centuries. Compared to other parts of the world, cruelty towards animals or other life forms in India was lesser. Lesser to what extent, we might speculate, but certainly India was kinder towards life forms still recently. The only problem is the reasons were just cultural. And culture is man-made, so culture can change. Culture is time-bound, culture changes. So as you pointed out, the Indian youth, the Asian youth, in fact youth all over the world, they look at the West as their idol. And they want to emulate the Western culture because the image of the West is that of a successful and wealthy and powerful man. And who does not want to go after success and wealth and power? So that's what Indians have also been doing. They look at the West and say, wow, that's where you have real power and money. So they emulate the culture also, and that's where the cultural reasons meet their limits. If you are being vegan or vegetarian just because that's what goes in your family, in your tradition, or in your religion, then that won't take you very far. cultures will change. Some other culture will come and eclipse your current culture. Then, higher than the cultural reason is the biological reason, because this comes from within the organism. This does not come from the family, from tradition, from someone else, from the society. So, for example, when I look at a stray dog, and there is a feeling of empathy that arises. Without even knowing why I am empathetic, I want to do something for the dog. It's cold these days, so we want to take care of a few puppies that are that live close to our place, and we want to take care of them. We do not necessarily know the origins of that feeling, but still we want to do something, and that I take as higher than the cultural reason, because the feeling is mine to a greater extent. The culture is not really mine. The culture is a borrowed thing or an inherited thing. But the feeling arises from within me. And so the feeling works in a far better way and in a deeper way than the culture. India has been losing out due to the erosion of its culture. Feelings will help, but what really works is understanding. And that is the spiritual reason. So, cultural, emotional, and then spiritual. When one really, really knows what it means to live, who one is, and what his relationship with the world is, then it becomes impossible to really hate someone or be insensitive to someone. And it's not, then it's also not just about eating animals or hurting animals. One starts living from a different center, and there is a total change in personality. One, it's a thing that will probably make you smile. One becomes vegan even without knowing it. We witness that daily, and I am enjoying sharing it with you. There are so many people in our vicinity, in the field of our work, they have become vegan. They don't even know that they are vegans. And that I take as a very innocent and beautiful example of real veganism. Veganism arising from the heart. Veganism not as a concept borrowed from somewhere, but as a living thing that has just sprouted from your very center. You have come to realize what the curd is made of and where it comes from. You have just seen those things, and now you just can't do it. It's impossible. Even if you want to, you can't do it. I have seen instances. We had a long period of lockdown here at the time of COVID-19, 2020, a few months in 21 as well. So there were patches in which even medicines were not available. So we had a couple of cases in the foundation. Their B12 levels went down. And that happens. Once every few months it happens that you get yourself checked and find that B12 is borderline. So we just take organic supplements and they are very easily available, and you take the supplement for a month and you are okay. Because of the lockdown, even the supplements are not available. It didn't even occur to people to consume dairy or anything because supplements are not available. They didn't declare it, but that's what they were de facto saying. We would rather die than hurt someone. They didn't make it dramatic and announce it in so many words. It remained subtle. But if you look at it, that's what they were practically saying. Let the B12 levels dip if they have to. We would prefer to go, but we just cannot bear hurting someone anymore. That's the magic of spiritual veganism. And I think the world will have to come around to that. You talked of environmental influences, you talked of climate change. All these things, to me, they go together. climate action, protection of species going extinct, antinatalism, minimalism, veganism, these go together. And if the planet is to be saved, there is no option except the bundle of these five. And at the center of these five, to me, lies spirituality, and that's the route we are taking. Success has been mixed. It's just that the reach has to greatly increase. We have been pretty successful in the territory we have been able to cover. The problem is that we have not been able to cover a huge territory. First of all, we are limited to India. Secondly, even in India, because we are relatively nascent, so our reach is still limited compared to the work that needs to be done. I think we are per month we are reaching out to no less than 40 to 50 million people, but much more needs to be done. Otherwise, the very existence of the planet, I do not see how far we are going.